Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. I'm Beth Genly, your host for this segment, and I'm also this year president of Toastmasters for Speaking Professionals. We invite you to come and visit us. We meet on the second and fourth Tuesdays at 11:45 in Beaverton. This evening, I am just delighted to welcome Dorice Horenstein, who has become a friend of mine since she joined Toastmasters for Speaking Professionals. She is an author, a very charismatic speaker, and a teacher. She immigrated here from Israel, where she was actually an officer in the Israeli army, and now she is here speaking worldwide about life and the beauty of life and the four chambers of the heart. Dorice Horenstein, welcome to.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
glad
you so
you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here with you. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your book and what inspired you to write it. And I should say, for everyone, it's called Moments of the Heart.
Yes, thank you. Well, let me tell you, it has been a journey, for sure. I began the concept of this book in the fall of 2014 when my sister was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer.
Oh dear.
Yes. And she is 10,000 miles away, and here I am here in Portland, Oregon. And I had a full-time job at that time as an education director in a local synagogue. So I decided, and I narrate it in my book, but I decided that I will start with every Saturday night I will post a video on Facebook that will give her some spirit, some joy, some happiness, something to look forward to. And I did it for an entire year, every Saturday night. And I created this Facebook page that's called Lev Moment, Lev meaning a heart in Hebrew. And so a year goes by, and now we are at the fall of 2015. And I say to myself, what now? What am I going to do now? And then I decided I'm just going to narrate that and write it all in my journals. So I start writing it and typing it actually to the computer. A year goes by. Now we're in the fall of 2016. I print out all this paper. I put them all around the table and on the floor. And I think to myself, what now? And it literally says video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4. And I thought, okay, I see that they all have to do with relationships. And so it happened that my husband was walking by, and I said to him, honey, how should I divide this? And he said, well, you had a Facebook page talking about heart. Why don't you divide them to 4, just like the heart has 4 chambers? And that's really has been my book. I divided to 4. And then I thought, okay, if I'm dividing all these relationships into 4 chambers, my book has chambers and not chapters, so it's quite unique in that way. And I thought, okay, what are the 4 relationships that every person, regardless of their religion, regardless of if they're practicing a religion, right? What's the 4 chambers that they should experience to live wholeheartedly?
So before you tell us about that, I want to take a little bit of a diversion because you said something in our Toastmasters meeting this afternoon that I want you to bring in, and that's the Hebrew version of the word life, because I think it relates directly to this.
Okay.
So tell us that bit and then lead back into the 4 chambers of the heart, because I didn't want to leave that out.
Oh, I would love to. So the word life in English
yes,
is singular word, right? You say life is beautiful, life is great, life is awesome. Well, as a Jewish educator that I am, and therefore an author and a teacher, and I was speaking it all over the world, the word in Hebrew, life is chaim, and that word is plural. We say in Hebrew, life are beautiful, life are great, life are fantastic. And so what really is life? It's the accumulation of all the experiences that we have, good and not so good, challenging and not so challenging, that makes this beautiful tapestry that what life is. So today, this morning, I talked about it, and of course I gave a joy story, or maybe I should say an oi story. An oi in Hebrew is like oi, like not so good, right? So it's oi, not so good, and then a joy story. And I talked about my canoeing trip, which we'll save for another time.
Okay.
All right? Unless you want me to go ahead.
No, that's fine. I just think the idea of combining this 4 chambers of the heart with this idea of life as plural. I've been thinking about it all afternoon. I just love it.
Thank you so much. So really, relationships that we have in this world, that's what build our life. I mean, we are the walking story of our lives. Think about it, because it's so many pieces. Sometimes it's pieces that people know about. Sometimes it's pieces that people don't know about it, right? So the relationship, back to the 4 relationships. So when I ask somebody, what do you think are the 4 relationships that a person should have to live wholeheartedly? I catch them a little bit by surprise, because they say, maybe it's the one with your husband. Well, what about if you don't have a husband? Oh, it's the one with your children. What about if you don't have children? So I divide it in the following way.
Yes.
The first chamber is the chamber of relationship that you have with yourself, with how you are with you. It is the basic foundation of all other relationships. And may I say that all of my work, as I bring it to every single person in the universe, it's come from the tradition, from the Jewish tradition, from the Jewish wisdom. So I use my knowledge as a Jewish educator for the last 30 years, and the fact that I'm bilingual. So I look at life in 2 languages, right?
Yes.
In the singular world and in the plural, right? So
beautiful.
And so that's the first relationship, because if we are not good with ourselves and love ourselves and appreciate ourselves, and I'm not talking in a narcissistic way, but I'm talking in a deep soul way, right? If we don't have that squared away and figured out, it's very hard for us to then create relationship with other people. And that's the second chamber. The second chamber is the relationship that we have with people. May it be our spouse, our children, our colleagues at work, our people on the street.
So if I'm a whole person and I'm loving myself, then I can bring my whole self to my relationship with you and with other people I care about. Or whoever.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. Because you are healthy. You have that sense of health of the body and the soul, and you appreciate yourself. Therefore, you appreciate other people. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the second chamber. The third chamber, which I find fascinating, is my connection and our connection to that power which is above you. So for some people it can be God, like me. For other people it's nature. For other people they call it the source. For other people it can be their own soul inside their body, right? But it's that which is outside of you or above you, or something that you strive to do.
Bigger than you.
Bigger than you.
Yeah.
Bigger than you. Okay, so that's the third chamber. The fourth chamber is what I call the gluing chamber. It's that chamber that puts all of these experiences in life in reality. So let's think of things that happen to you. Birth of your children, to some. Death of a loved one. Graduation from high school, from your high school or children's high school. College. Weddings. Right? Birth of a baby, all that. If you think of your own life and these milestones that you have experienced, you would say, I hope that somehow you were changed because what happened to you, right? We all are.
Sure.
We are the definition of life, right? We walk through life, and when things happen to us, it changes us in some ways, and that's the fourth chamber. So now every chamber.
Okay, so hold it. So gluing. Why gluing? Tell us about that piece.
Because what is life? Life is the sum of the experiences that make you who you are, right? And it's not in isolation. Nothing happens in isolation in life. In Hebrew, which reminds me, because it reminds me, the word coincidence, right? In Hebrew is the word mikre. And it actually means happens from God or happens from a higher source. So really, there are no coincidence in life. There are no something that happened that said, it just happened. From everything in life, good and not so good, we learn. We learn. If we don't learn, what's the purpose? What's the point, right? And so to me, my whole life to this point have been a learning. For me, growing up in Israel, in a family with 4 other amazing siblings, but not as much money, with serving in the Israeli military and going and being an officer, coming here to America with $600 to my name, 1 suitcase in December, no coat. How can that be? But it happened. It happened. Okay? All these things happen, they make me who I am. 30 years of education and inspiring other people that came into the synagogue to learn with me, and other people through Facebook and whatever media. So yeah, I'm the product of all of what happened to me. And so is everybody in life. We are the product of whatever happens to us. But it doesn't mean that we are puppets, right? We have control over our destination. The actions that we take are the ones that define us. Right? What are the actions? And all these are in this amazing book that I just love.
And you're clearly very proud of, which you should be.
I am.
Yes.
You know, I'm totally, this is my book. I love this.
No, put it back up. We want to see it.
There you go.
So hold it so we can actually see it.
This
there
is
we
Moments
go.
of the Heart. And you know, this heart, the way I chose that, just, it's a puzzle, right? It's a puzzle.
Yes.
Because life is a puzzle. We don't know sometimes all the pieces until the very end. We don't know, you know. So, and then I put it in the background of wood. Why? Because wood expands and changes. It's not hard that doesn't change. Wood expands. Okay. Well, I have that word a little bit slanted, not straight. Why? Because life is not straight. Life has ups and downs. So everything that I have in this book has a meaning. You know, from the cover to the inside of it, and you know.
So I have to add
Yes.
that this looks like a tangram to me, and I find tangrams almost impossible. So
You know what? So I hope that you will pick up this book and you'll say, well, this one is possible.
well, there we go.
Yes.
Great. Okay. All right. I think this is a good moment for us to take a break. And when we come back, I'd like you to talk a little bit more about your background, if you would.
Okay.
All right. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will be right back.
Welcome to an opportunity to take the next step of your professional speaking journey. I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever wished you were a star in a television show? Or at an event where the media is interviewing bystanders and you are wanting to be picked to give your opinion of the event? Or even in the smallest sense, you're at a sports game and secretly hope that your smiling face would appear on that big jumbo screen TV? But the jumbo screen always finds the fans with the painted faces. And you think to yourself, maybe next time. Well, what if I can offer you a chance to be on TV? Would you take it? That is what I want to offer you now. I'm Dottie Love, Associate TV Producer and Director. Toastmasters International is one of the largest organizations whose mission is to help improve your speaking skills. And District 7 is expanding your opportunities to do speaking via television. We have 4 fully equipped television studios and TV Toastmaster broadcasts to over 500,000 homes, plus a YouTube channel. Who knew? We want to invite you to take advantage of using media and television, either in front or behind the scenes. Let me share a few options that you have. First, you can be a guest on a show. Highlight your business or hobby or your community interest. Anything you're passionate about. Be a featured guest. Secondly, you can train to be a host on an ongoing TV segment. We will train you for that. Third, what about creating your own talk show? We will train you for that as well and give you access to a community media studio to do just that. Or lastly, be behind the scenes, either running a camera or editing shows. You decide which avenue is best for you, and our TV Toastmasters team will help you to navigate to get the most out of your media experience. Personally, I've done them all. I started as a guest, went to hosting, up to directing my own TV show. I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell you this to impress upon you that your personal growth with Toastmasters is directly related to what you take advantage of. And I encourage you to be bold in looking for opportunities to stretch and grow. If this intrigues you, or if you have club members who you think that might be interested in this, please contact us here at TV Toastmasters. I'm Dottie Love, And you can reach me or any of us in the TV Toastmasters family at the contact information at the bottom of the screen. You can also find us on the web. Our website is 7512.toastmastersclub.org.
Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. I'm Beth Genly, your host for this segment, and I am interviewing Dorice Horenstein, who has written Moments of the Heart and is about to share with us some of her background of growing up in Israel. So, Dorice, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
So, tell us about your family in Israel and what it was like growing up there that's different from here.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am of Persian descent. So I'm very unique because when I come here, people said, "What nationality are you?" And I find it okay. I could say I'm Persian because I'm 100% Persian. Both my parents are Persian. But then I was born in Israel, so I'm also Israeli. So I can say I'm an Israeli Persian that now is an American. Okay? So I grew up with four other siblings, 3 sisters and a brother. And we had a very tight-knit family. I mean, my parents did a marvelous job in raising us with not a lot of money, but with all the love you could ever have. You know, and I think when I think of myself, I want to give a lot of credit to my parents for raising children that are healthy in their soul, healthy in their mind. It doesn't mean that we didn't have arguments, of course not. But I felt that my upbringing was good, even though we didn't have much, right? But we had love, and when you're growing up, love is all you need, right? You need that reinforcement of you count, you matter, right? So at the age of 18, I was drafted into the Israeli army like every other Israeli, right? It's a mandatory in Israel. And I think that 2 years have solidified who I am going to become.
In what way?
Being in leadership, knowing my values, knowing my roots, understanding with 2 feet on the ground who I am, having a set of standards of behavior. And I think that's really, and especially people who choose to go into officer training, right? And then I do a lot of talks about really how did I become an officer and the process of becoming an officer. And it's not that simple. And sometimes it's scary, you know, because during the actual course, 60 people may start, and then 20 people are left at the very end. So where are all these 40 people go, right? And so it was a very turbulent time to try to make it to be an officer in the Israeli army. And I learned also a love to my country. You know, it's part of who I am. So when I think of Dorice and my personal 4 chambers of my own personal heart, right, part of it is my roots, you know, where I come from, the Israeli military. The other chamber is the now. I'm here in America. I'm building myself, but I don't disregard my chamber 1, my roots, where I come from, right? My next chamber is the chamber, what I call of tomorrow. I don't know what it will be, but I have to take with me these 2 beautiful chambers as I lead my way into the next one. And of course, my 4th chamber, my own personal 4th chamber, is all the experiences that made me who I am, just like everybody else. But back into this. So I come to America, and I met my husband, by the way, on an apple picking machine. True story. I don't know if it's like you have this ramp behind you, and on a kibbutz, and people are standing there 4 o'clock in the morning. We pick apples from the tree. This is how I met my husband at 4 a.m.
Was that because it was cooler out?
Exactly, exactly. So
okay.
You work many times in the very early time of the day, and you're done at noon. Okay? And by noon, you just want to go to sleep. Yes. And then you get up at 5 o'clock and you say, now what? So I did that for a few months. And it was glorious few months. And then I met my husband, who then, when I was done with the Israeli military, he said, can you come to America and I'll buy you a plane ticket? And for somebody like me who had no money, right, it was like, yes, I'm going to America. So I came here, and we've built our lives together here. We got married. We have beautiful 3 children and a dog, and with my love. And I thought to myself, what can I do here in America? And I thought of giving back to my country. And that's how it led me into Jewish education and more spiritual work, and the love of Israel and connecting people with their Jewish roots. And then in last July of 2018, I decided that I'm leaving that and now I want the world to be my classroom. I want to meet people like you, which I haven't met before, right? And I said, this is wonderful. I want people to just meet people, talk about my book, which started as a Facebook page, right? And now it's a book. And I want to bring that book to every group that would want to hear, will want to be inspired. Just last week, I was talking to a group of Ethiopian Christians. It was lovely. It was just lovely. And they all felt that they could learn something from my background, from my tradition, in their own life. So I love it.
So I want to take a little side jaunt here
Yes.
and hear how you feel that Toastmasters has played into this switch that you've made and your ability to reach the people you want to reach.
Oh, it's the biggest gift that ever happened to me. May I say so? So
Wow.
because you know what? When I left on July, I did not know what to do. I just knew that I'm going to get a book out. I didn't even had a publishing company willing to publish my book. It's not a self-published book. It's actually with a publishing company. I did not know the company. I did not know what I'm going to do. And a friend of mine said to me, why don't you join Toastmasters? So I Googled, and there's a lot of Toastmasters group in town. And a friend of mine again said, why don't you come and be my guest? So I joined, and that's when I met you, and I met all these amazing people. And I thought to myself, this is now going to be my second home. I'm going to come. And what I learned out of that, because, you know, until then, I spoke in front of a lot of people, but all the people that I knew and that knew me. So it was, they had to come into the walls of my synagogue, and then they said, okay, Dorice will be speaking to us. She will teach us something. But to stand in front of a group that you don't know, but group that has love in their heart and in their eyes, and they're kind, and all they want to do is to make you better, you know, and that's how I felt. And I felt there is absolutely no downside to joining you. And I got so much more. I got friends. I got friendship, right? And I'm polishing my skills as a speaker. I love
By
it.
the way.
By the way, it's like beautiful. And our particular chapter, I love because very organized, very professional. You know, people who are interested really and truly to become better and help other people be better. Thank you, God.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was bigger and more beautiful than I imagined it would be. Thank
It
you.
really was. I mean, honestly, I love it. I love it. Many people ask me, they said, oh, Dorice, you know, you're a speaker. Why do you need to go there? And I said, you don't understand. It's a different level of speaking. You know, it's something that if I want to really be professional and do it and go all over the world and talk about my love of life and my lessons for life, and all based from my book and other Jewish sources that I've incorporated into my being, I want to be part of this group. And so, and I recruited several others since.
I think you may just have recruited a few more just now.
I know.
Toastmasters for Speaking Professionals is what she was talking about, in
That's
case
right.
anyone is wondering.
Yes.
So you've said a couple of times now that your ambition is to speak worldwide.
Yes.
Tell us more about what that is going to look like for you and where you'd like to speak.
Okay, so I already spoke at non-Jewish groups, like an Ethiopian group that I was just loving it. I came into, there's a bunch of people, they all take their shoes off. I wasn't ready for that, but I did it, you know. And we start having this wonderful conversation when I taught them about the heart and about goodness. And I brought Jewish spirituality in there, but I also asked them in their life. In Ethiopian, by the way, the word life is also singular.
Ah, interesting.
Yes, yes, in Amharic, actually. That's the language of the Ethiopian people, Amharic. So I want to speak to faith-based groups, whatever they may be. I also want to speak to leadership groups, to women in leadership, or just leadership in general, moms group, Rotary clubs, any group or organization that is interested in elevating the spirit of their organization by being around me and learning from me. And I think I have a lot to teach. My heart is big enough for everybody, for every group, and I'm already planning. In June, I'm going to go to Boise, invited to a church. You know, later on, I will be going to other places, so I'm looking forward. In November, I'm going to Nashville. So
Exciting,
Exciting.
very exciting. And eventually I think you'll probably get back to Israel to speak as well.
I'm just working now on the ideas of who is going to translate my book into Hebrew. My family, my mother doesn't speak English. And every time I show her the book on FaceTime, when we're talking, and she says, Dorice, when will this book be in Hebrew? And I said, Ima, which means mom, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So once it's in Hebrew, it will be fabulous. But until then, it will be in bookstores in November of 2019.
Great.
And it will be not only in the United States, it will be in Canada, in Australia, in England. So this is great. I'm so excited.
I kind of got that impression that you were a little bit jazzed.
I know. This is like, right? Look, all of this, just the world opens up for me, I feel like. And it's so beautiful to see. And it's so beautiful to be engaged in it and enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. I just told my brother yesterday something that I will translate. I told it to him in Hebrew, but I'll translate it to English because I thought it would be helpful. Yes. Because I said, I know where I'm going. I don't know to where I'm going to arrive. And that is the feeling I have. And you have to be okay with that.
That's a wonderful analogy for life. And we are out of time. But Dorice, it has been absolutely delightful meeting with you today.
Same. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us here on TV Toastmasters. We'll be back next time with more wonderful people to interview. And in the meantime, check out a Toastmasters near you. It really is a wonderful opportunity to learn and grow and make amazing friends.